Stop whatever you are doing right now. I am not even joking. Put the phone down, pick it back up, and give me your full attention. Because what I am about to tell you is the kind of story that makes you question everything you think you know about trust, loyalty, and what people are truly capable of when they think you are not watching. This story has it all: a love that felt like destiny, a betrayal that came from two directions at once, a breakdown that could have broken someone permanently, and a revenge plan so cold, so calculated, so perfectly executed that honestly, I have chills just telling it. And the most unbelievable part of all, every single word of this is real. So let's go back to the beginning, because every great story and every great downfall starts somewhere, and this one starts in August of 2023. Meet Drake, 18 years old. Creative, artistic, passionate about fashion, the kind of person who feels everything deeply and loves even deeper. The kind of person who, when they let someone in, lets them in completely. And then he met Luke, also 18, also artistic, also into fashion, also seemingly everything Drake had ever hoped to find in another person. They met through a mutual group of friends, and from the very first conversation, something just clicked. You know that feeling when you meet someone and it feels less like meeting a stranger and more like reconnecting with someone you already knew? That's exactly what this felt like. Easy, natural. Like they had been friends in another life and were just picking up where they left off. They had the same taste in everything, the same references, the same humor, the same way of seeing the world. They could talk for hours and it still never felt like enough. Luke just got Drake in a way that most people never had, and Drake felt exactly the same way about him. There was just one problem. They lived 8 hours away from each other. Now, for most people, 8 hours is a deal breaker before the relationship even starts. That is a full workday of driving. That is a flight with a layover. That is not a quick weekend visit kind of distance. That is a serious, intentional, we are doing this on purpose kind of commitment just to see each other's face. But Drake and Luke, they didn't even hesitate. Because when the connection is real, distance is just a number. And these two had something that felt worth every mile between them, so they went all in. Long distance, full commitment, talking every single day, building something real across 800 miles of space. And it was beautiful. Genuinely, truly beautiful. The kind of relationship that makes you believe in love a little bit more. Late night calls, good morning texts, sharing playlists and art and the random little things that make up a real relationship. Not just surface level, deep, meaningful, the real thing. And then they started making plans. Luke had his prom coming up in March, and Drake was going to be there. That was the plan. Drake was going to make that entire 8-hour drive, show up in person, and finally share one of the most iconic nights of high school with the person he loved. It gave their relationship a destination, something to look forward to, something to build toward, and Drake was counting down to it with everything he had. But life has a way of showing you who people really are before you are ready to see it. It started small. The texts got a little slower to come in. The calls got a little shorter. Luke started seeming distracted during conversations, like his mind was somewhere else even when his words were still saying the right things. There was a distance growing that had nothing to do with geography. Drake noticed it. Of course he noticed it. When you love someone, you notice everything, every shift in energy, every delayed response, every moment where something just feels slightly off even though you cannot explain exactly why. But Drake did what a lot of us do when we notice something we are not ready to face. He told himself he was overthinking. He gave Luke the benefit of the doubt. He assumed it was stress or school or just one of those rough patches that every relationship goes through. He stayed. He held on. He kept showing up. Because that is what you do when you love someone. And then, about 2 months before prom, Something happened that Drake filed away in the back of his mind without fully understanding what it meant. One of Luke's friends reached out to him. Out of nowhere, no real reason, just started a conversation like it was the most normal thing in the world. Drake thought nothing of it. Why would he? It was just one of Luke's friends being friendly. Maybe he had heard about Drake through Luke. Maybe he was just reaching out to get to know his friend's boyfriend. It seemed harmless. Drake brushed it off and moved on. He had no idea that the clock had already started ticking. Then came the week before prom, the week Drake had been waiting for. The week that was supposed to be the beginning of something even bigger for him and Luke. The week he had mentally circled on the calendar for months, and Luke ended everything. No build-up. No serious conversation. No "hey, we need to talk" warning. Just a sudden, cold, crushing message that came completely out of nowhere and dismantled 8 months of a relationship in a matter of minutes. And Luke's reason. He told Drake he was too depressed. Let that sink in for a second. This man, who had watched Drake love him fully and faithfully across 800 miles for 8 whole months, decided that the reason he was leaving was that Drake struggled with his mental health. Like struggling made Drake less worthy of love. Like being human was a character flaw serious enough to justify walking away. But he wasn't done twisting the knife. He also made sure Drake knew he had found someone better. Someone better after 8 months, after every late-night call, after every plan they made together. After every mile Drake was willing to drive just to be there for one of Luke's biggest nights. Luke looked at all of that and decided someone better was out there. Drake was absolutely shattered. And this is the part of the story that I need you to really sit with, because it would have been so easy and so completely understandable for Drake to just collapse, to shut down, to let this break him and spend the next several months trying to piece himself back together. He was already struggling. Luke knew that. And Luke chose that exact moment, that exact vulnerability, to walk out and make sure Drake knew he was being replaced. That is not just a breakup. That is cruelty. But then, literally minutes later, and I mean minutes, something happened that shifted the entire story. Luke's friend, the same one who had randomly messaged Drake 2 months earlier. He showed up in Drake's messages again, this time to apologize for Drake's loss. Drake stared at that message and felt something shift inside of him, not just grief, not just anger. Something sharper than both of those. A question that started burning the moment he read those words. How did he already know? The breakup had just happened, literally minutes ago. Luke had just sent that message. There had been no announcement, no posts, no group chat notification, nothing. So how was this friend already sliding into Drake's messages with his condolences? Unless he already knew it was coming, unless he had known for a while. And that is when everything Drake had been refusing to see came crashing into focus all at once. The distance. The distraction. The friend reaching out 2 months ago for no real reason. The suspicious timing of the breakup right before prom. The fact that this friend knew about the split before Drake had even had time to process it himself. Luke had not just found someone better after the breakup. He had been building something with this friend for 3 months. 3 months. While he and Drake were still together. While Drake was still making plans to drive 8 hours for prom. While Drake was still showing up every single day, loving someone who was already halfway out the door. The friend who messaged Drake first had been talking to Luke behind Drake's back the entire time. This was not just a breakup. This was a coordinated betrayal from 2 different directions. And Drake fell apart. There is no other way to say it. He was already in a fragile place. And this double-sided betrayal from the person he loved and the person who pretended to be friendly sent him somewhere genuinely dark. The kind of dark where you question everything, where you replay every conversation looking for the lies, where you wonder how you missed it, how you trusted so completely and still ended up here. He grieved hard, and he deserved to grieve. What happened to him was genuinely awful. And anyone who tells you, just get over it, has clearly never had their heart broken from two sides at the same time by people they fully trusted. But Drake is not the kind of person who stays down forever, because somewhere inside that grief, something else started to wake up. Not anger exactly, something more precise than anger. More patient, more deliberate. A plan. See, here is what Drake noticed. Luke's friend was still reaching out to him, still trying to maintain some kind of contact, still acting like they could be cool, like nothing had happened, like he had not just played a central role in dismantling Drake's relationship. He wanted to stay in Drake's life. And Drake let him think that was going to happen. He kept those lines of communication open. He played it calm. He played it friendly. And while he was doing that, he was studying. Every single conversation, Drake was taking mental notes. What does this guy talk about? What does he find attractive? What kind of person makes his eyes light up? What are his interests, his type, his weaknesses, his triggers? What would the absolute perfect person look like to someone like him? Drake built a complete profile. And then he built the catfish. A fake account. A carefully crafted persona. Every detail hand-selected based on everything Drake had quietly gathered over those conversations. Not random. Not rushed. Precise. Intentional. Built to be completely irresistible to exactly one specific person. And then Drake went to work. He used the catfish profile to get close to Luke's friend, to gain his trust, to become someone he was genuinely invested in. And once that foundation was laid, Drake made his first real move. He went to Luke. Through the catfish profile, Drake told Luke carefully, convincingly, that his new guy was not actually interested in him, that the person Luke had burned everything down for did not want him back. The message hit exactly the way Drake knew it would. Luke and his friend broke up. The relationship that had been built on lies and betrayal, the one that had cost Drake 8 months of love and loyalty, collapsed. Just like that. Undone by the exact kind of deception they had used on Drake, turned right back around on them. And then came the moment Drake had been waiting for. Luke came crawling back. Of course he did. The second his new option fell through, suddenly Drake was worth something again. Suddenly Drake was worth reaching out to, worth fighting for, worth every message Luke had probably drafted and deleted before finally sending. He came back with that energy that users always come back with, like enough time had passed, like Drake would be softer now, like maybe Drake was still sitting somewhere waiting for him. Oh, Luke had no idea what was waiting for him. Drake did not take him back, but he did respond. And his response was the most perfectly crafted final move of this entire chess game. He pulled together a collection of photos from one of his real friends, genuinely attractive, genuinely put together, and he told Luke he had moved on. Not just moved on, upgraded. He painted the picture of someone thriving, someone glowing, someone who had taken the pain Luke left behind and turned it into fuel to become an even better, happier, more radiant version of themselves, with someone new who deserved them. And he made sure Luke could see it clearly. The look on Luke's face, metaphorically speaking, must have been devastating. Because there is nothing worse for someone who left you for someone better than watching you find better faster than they ever could have imagined. But Drake still had one more card to play. The catfish account. Luke's friend, the one who started all of this, the one who had been sneaking around for 3 months, the one who helped destroy Drake's relationship, thought he had something new on the horizon. Thought the catfish Drake had created was a real person interested in him. Thought maybe, even after the drama with Luke, something good was coming his way. Drake shut it down. Deleted the profile, pulled the rug out completely, left Luke's friend standing there with nothing. No Luke, no catfish date, no new beginning. just the consequences of his own choices staring back at him. And in one final, sweeping move, Drake had left both of them exactly where they deserved to be. Single, humbled, broken in the exact same way they had broken him. Now look, I know what some of you are thinking. Was this petty? Maybe. Was it messy? A little. Was it the kind of thing you would find in a movie and say, okay, that would never actually happen in real life? Absolutely. But here is what I keep coming back to. These two people did not just hurt Drake, they planned it, they coordinated it. They let it go on for 3 months while Drake was still fully invested, still loving Luke, still making prom plans like everything was fine. And then Luke had the nerve to blame Drake's mental health on the way out, as if struggling made Drake deserving of that level of betrayal. Drake did not just get revenge. Drake reclaimed his narrative. He took a situation where he had been made to feel small, replaceable, and broken, and he flipped it entirely. He walked away from this the one with power, the one who made the moves, the one who in the end could not be touched, and that matters. Because sometimes healing does not look like journaling and therapy, and gracefully wishing your exes well. Sometimes healing looks like a perfectly executed catfish scheme and leaving two people single on what was supposed to be prom night. Drake, wherever you are, this one is for you. You are not too much. You were never too depressed to deserve love. You were just too good for someone who was never going to be able to handle you. And to Luke and his friend, you played yourselves beautifully. All right, I need to know where you stand on this one. Was Drake 100% justified, or did he take it a step too far? Drop your honest opinion in the comments right now, because this story has me genuinely divided, and I cannot be the only one sitting with this. And if you made it all the way to the end of this video, first of all, thank you. You are literally my favorite kind of person. And second, you already know what to do. Like, subscribe, and come back, because the stories only get wilder from here.